Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. We'll give the Halloween videos a break and talk about a cult classic today. Today, we are going to discuss the controversial and bizarre film Pink Flamingos. Just like in my last review I did, I'm going to be a little more loose with this one and kind of just go off the head here and talk about the film conversation style. I will warn you, there will be some spoilers, but I will do my best to discuss the film without giving away every detail. All right, guys, let's get into Pink Flamingos. Pink Flamingos was released in 1972, directed by John Waters, and stars Divine. This movie is one of the many collaborations between these two. The movie is very simple. Divine is a man in drag, and she has the title of the filthiest person alive. Now, what that means is, what we mean by filthy is, what we mean by filthy is exactly that. She'll do pretty much anything. Um, Based on the things you see her do in this movie, she'll pretty much do whatever. It's this movie is it's bizarre, it's weird, it's crazy, it's out there. First things first, let me tell you guys, this movie is rated NC-17, and it is for good reason. You will see why. If you've never seen the film, you'll see why. If you have seen the film, you know why. So there is some stuff in this movie. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a lot of offensive things in this movie, a lot of stuff that a lot of people may not want to watch. Within a lot of reviews I read for this film, I read that a lot of people did walk out of it upon release, at least. Which that was 1972. It's 2022. We're far more desensitized to this kind of stuff now than we were back then. But it's really mind blowing to me that this movie came out around then. I mean, of course, it was banned in a lot of places, and it had a whole lot of stuff going on. But I mean, despite all that, the film became a huge, huge cult classic. Especially with the LGBT community. But this this film is it's just, you can't help but laugh when you think about it, when you think about what happens in it. But I will say this about the film, it keeps your attention. So let's talk about the movie a little bit more. So what's going on here is there's a strange criminal couple from Baltimore, because this movie takes place in Maryland, and they're jealous of Divine and the title she has as the filthiest person alive. And they're willing to do anything to strip that title from her. That's what this movie's about. It's very, very simple. That's what it is. These people want her title. And when you're watching the movie, at times you forget that's what it's about because of everything that you're seeing. But it paces well. The film paces well. It's not a really long movie. It paces well. It keeps you on track, and all the crazy stuff you're seeing, flows with you until the end. I can't say this film is for everyone. I cannot say this film is for everyone. This film probably isn't for most people. But let's get into it a little bit. All right. Now, these people, Divine and her family. So you got Divine, a dude in drag. He's very over the top looking, as you'll see right here on the screen. D- Divine's got an interesting look. She's hilarious though. Divine is actually, as weird as she is and as gross as she is, Divine is actually a kind of compelling character, and like, you kind of feel for Divine at times in this movie. Divine is just chilling. She really ain't bothering nobody. Like, and that's why you kind of, I don't know, it's weird. You kind of root for her a little bit as you see what's going on in the film. Then you got her son, Crackers. And Crackers is one of the weirdest characters I've ever seen in a film. The dude he's something, I'll tell you that. But Crackers is funny too. Crackers is funny. Uh yeah, man. Crackers does some stuff in this movie that your average person would probably never do. And if they ever did, you ever caught somebody doing some of the things he did in this movie, you might not talk to that person no more. But Crackers is a rider. You know, he's actually a pretty good son in the best sense of the phrase I can use it. Um, he rides for his mom. He makes sure the family's all right. You know, Crackers is straight. Then you got Edie. Edie, Edie is Divine's mother. And you know what? I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Edie's character because Edie was oddly one of my favorite characters in the movie. Uh, Edie is a heavy set woman, you know, probably in her 50s, and she lives in a playpen, like a giant playpen, like, you know, those ones you see, you know, kids playing, but it's really big, and she just sits in this thing all the time, and all she does is talk about eggs and eats eggs all day. She talks about eggs all day long. You know, she's mentally disturbed, clearly. She probably has the mind of like a freaking 6-year-old, I don't know. But Edie is so funny. She just sits there and claps her hands and talks about eggs, and she just they Edie is just she's a hoot. She's a mess, but she's funny, man. And Edie's sweet. You kind of just, you know, you you feel for Edie because Edie's funny, and you know she has like you feel like you're watching a young kid, you know. But Edie's hilarious. So oddly enough, out of all the characters, Edie is probably the most normal out the family, though. As weird as that sounds, as I just told you, this woman screams and talks about eggs all day. Yeah, she's probably the most normal. And then you got the homegirl Cotton. Cotton, I think, is just Divine's like travel companion, friend, whatever. Cotton's pretty cool too. Cotton's a rider too, just like Crackers. Cotton's a rider. Cotton's weird, but not as weird as Divine or Crackers. Um, Cotton's kind of cool. Cotton's probably one of the only normal looking people in the movie because I will say the people in this movie they have a look to them, and um, I'm not going to use certain phrases to describe their looks. You can look at, you know, these images I'm putting up on the screen and you can make your own judgment there. Or you can go and watch the movie and really make your own judgment on what you would classify these people are if you were going to put them in a social class. Not that I think that's okay, but when you watch these kinds of films, you can't help but certain things come to mind. So these people in this movie, they're um they're very, you know, they're out there. That's the word. That's the phrase I'm going to use. They are out there, very out there people. So that's the family. You got Divine, you got Edie, you got Cotton, and Crackers. All right, and they all live in a little pink trailer with a little pink flamingo um, lawn stands. You can, you know, those are the ones you can stick in the ground. They got those out there, and they got one of those a little glass ball things you see in people's lawns. They're like those reflective ones. They got one of those out there. But this trailer is literally like in the middle of nowhere. It's like in some woods somewhere, and there's like nothing else around. And yeah, it's nowhere you would probably want to find yourself because it's out there. It looks like people get murdered around there. I mean, if you watch the movie, you see some murders happen around there. But anywho, yeah, that's where they live. And this trailer, I mean, is very minimal. I'll say this: the trailer is actually pretty clean on the inside for the type of folks these guys are. They actually kept it up. But I mean, it's a very modest, humble trailer, and they all live there, and they love it. They love it. That's their home. So what do they do? Well, Divine has uh has earned her reputation being a insane kind of criminal murderous freak that really has no morals and will do absolutely anything. And you see Divine very early in the movie do some stuff, and you're like, okay. And then as the movie goes on and on and on, Devon does more and more and more things, and you're like, okay. And see, I don't know why though. I found so many of these actions hilarious. This movie is funny. I laughed a lot at this movie. I actually thought it was very funny. Um, but it kind of made me look at myself like, if I find a movie like this is funny, is there something wrong with me? So the movie was funny though. It makes you laugh because the stuff is so over the top. It's just like honestly, to me, it felt like watching a scripted version of like Jackass. You know, if you've watched the Jackass movies or the show and you like it or think it's funny, you probably won't be that offended by the stuff you're seeing in this movie. Like for real. That's because that's the vibes you kind of get from it. It's a scripted Jackass. Like these people do silly pranks and really gross stuff, and I'm not gonna get into too much detail about the exact actions they do because I don't want this video to get flagged, because it's some stuff that I probably shouldn't discuss here. But that's what Devon does, and Devon has earned this reputation. She's in papers, magazines, her face is everywhere. She's known, and she's going under the alias of Babs Johnson because she is a criminal, so she can't really have people knowing where she lives like that, and she can't really have people knowing who she is. So the issue here is you got this crazy couple from Baltimore, right? And these guys do have money. Like I'm not saying they're filthy rich, but these guys definitely got money because they're living decent. Um, it's this dude with blue hair and this chick with red hair, dyed red, dyed blue, and the, their characters are actually really funny, just like in the stuff they do and say and the weird things they care about. But these people, in my opinion, are way worse than Divine, but not in the way they think they are. They think they're filthy and disgusting like Divine is. They are not. These people are depraved, psychopathic criminals. Okay. They're not gross. These people are gross in a sense of like, you are a real moral piece of crap. Okay. Some of the things these guys do in this movie, I can't actually, so I definitely can't talk about on here. They do some stuff to some people, and it's messed up, when you think about it. Now, this movie is so over the top and silly, it doesn't feel as I guess it doesn't feel as serious as if this was like a hard drama. Because like to me, I thought I looked at this movie like a comedy. I laughed the whole time. I thought it was hilarious because it's so ridiculous. But this couple, they pull some harmless pranks on people, but then they go and they do some stuff to people, and it's like I can't forgive that. You guys suck. And then the things they do to Divine, just because they want her title and just because they don't like her, they actually, they don't actually know this woman. They have nothing to actually do with this woman. They just don't like her because they feel they deserve to be labeled the filthiest people alive when they really aren't. They're not on Divine's level, or even they're not even on the level of Crackers and Cotton. Like they're not even on their level. Like they're way filthier than them two. So they're not even close to Divine. 'Cause you guys will see Divine is she's something. So but these people, they start effing with Divine's life and really making it difficult for no reason. And, hey, when Divine does what she does and gets her hands on these guys, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I was like, yeah. And by the end of the movie, I'm sorry, you just can't help but love Divine. You really can't. Like Divine is a likable character, as like I said, as weird as it is. I really like Divine. I thought Divine was pretty cool. Um, it was it was a ride. It was an interesting film. I I can't say that I haven't seen anything like it because I've watched some weird movies. I've watched Gummo and I've watched other movies that deal with middle America type people like this. But this one was definitely one of the more over the top ones. This one definitely was one of the more graphic and let's go there type of movies. Uh, but it was fun. But it was fun. Like there was a lot of things to like about it. I thought, like I said, I thought it paced well. I gotta say, is because this is a super art house film. It looks super. I think this movie had a $12,000 budget, like, and it looks like it. It does. It looks grainy and crappy. It looks like it was shot with someone's phone. It doesn't. There's nothing to awe at the filmmaking techniques in this movie. I think it's well directed, and I think it's very well acted for what these guys were asked because the acts in this movie are real, guys. So when you watch this movie, they are real. What you're seeing is real. And you are and when you think about that in a sense of what you're seeing, you're gonna be like, oh my God, these actors did this? Because that's all I was thinking. I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this as an actor, but hey, these guys, they all put on performances for our entertainment. So gotta respect and appreciate them for that because some of the stuff they were asked to do in this movie, probably 97% of actors wouldn't do. Um, so I did love that. I loved all that about the movie. But there's obviously a lot to not like. I won't say a lot actually. But there is some things to not like. First of all, there's some stuff you do see in this movie. It's just like, why? You ever watch something and you're just like, why? Why was that in there? Why did I have to see that? There's quite a few things in this movie like that. Yes, you may laugh at them, but it's just like it doesn't help build the story anymore. Um, Especially when you see them from characters that aren't critical to the plot. So when you see random side characters doing now, some of it is funny. Like I won't lie, some of the side characters doing some of the stuff they do is funny, but some of it is just like, eh, could have cut the movie down by maybe 10 or 15 minutes and it would have been even better. But the movie, like I said, it did pace very well. It's not a ton to like, but there is some stuff that it's just like, there's some stuff I didn't need to see. There's some I went into this thinking I was watching a movie, and I got some other stuff too that I felt like I was watching different kinds of movies. So I just I was shocked, but nonetheless, I didn't have much to complain about. Like I said, it's a low budget film. It doesn't look great. Very art house style. Very, you know, it's only in a couple little locations. It's not a. This is not a grand spectacle. This is not something you're seeing a big, huge production. This looks like it was done in the homie's backyard with the homies. So, but I think that's where a lot of the magic lies in this film, and I think this is one of those films that easily you can see why it has the cult following it does, especially in the LGBT community, with Divine being such a popular figure. And I'm sure if you're a movie head, I'm sure you've seen Divine, pictures of her, whatever, you know who she is, even if you haven't seen any of her movies. But this film it's carries the legacy and the controversy it does for a reason, and a very good one. Um, the more I think about the film, and now that I've been talking about it, I really do realize I did enjoy this film quite a bit, and I actually think, as I'm speaking here, I'm gonna change the score. I'm gonna give it at the end and move it up a little bit higher. Uh, Pink Flamingos, like I said, it's a film that you have to go into and don't have any expectations beyond you're just watching something to entertain you. And I think, a lot of critics that didn't like it, a lot of people that didn't like it, they probably went into it thinking they were going to see this like really serious art house film, and they probably felt like they were watching, you know, other types of films within this film that they probably felt like they didn't sign up for. Uh, I think this movie has aged quite well, and I think this is a film that a lot of people will watch now, and it wouldn't bother them as much because we've seen so much stuff now. Like I said, if you've watched Jackass before, if you've watched any of the Jackass movies, you could watch this movie with no problem. I think. But there is like the themes in this film. I will say the themes in this film. There's a lot of extreme themes in this film, and I'm not gonna get into them. You will know what they are as you watch the movie. I don't like I said, some of this stuff I feel like I can't talk about here. I don't want this video to, get flagged or anything. But guys, overall, Pink Flamingos, it's a funny, heartfelt and one of the weirdest ways films. And this movie will have your attention from start to finish. You'll see some things in here you've never seen before in a movie. You'll laugh at things you never thought you would probably laugh at. Um, It's something to get a kick out of. It's very art house style. This isn't a film for everyone, though. I will be honest. I do think this is more of a film for film lovers, for people who really like underground cinema. If you're like a Rocky Horror fan or someone like that, you would probably like this film more than someone who's used to seeing high budget, big productions. If you're into big studio movies where there's a lot going on and it's visually stunning, and this is probably not your movie, but if you like a film that is definitely out the box and you're going to see some things you're not typically going to see in a movie, I think you should check this out. I think this is a film that would you know, make you think a little bit. And I just have to give credit to the actors, the directors for the risks they took, the balls they had to go through some of these scenes, and you know they put that out there, and I can only respect someone who's got those kind of cojones on them. So overall, I'm going to give Pink Flamingos an 8.2 out of 10. Guys, make sure you watch Pink Flamingos if you are a hardcore film fan. If this is kind of more of a deep cut, you're gonna have to seek this movie out if you want to watch it. I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna be easy for you to watch. You have to seek it out. Um, there's ways to get it I can't talk about on here either, but if you know how to go about getting things, and you're probably gonna have to do it that way. You ain't gonna find this on no Netflix, all right? But guys, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you've seen Pink Flamingos, make sure you drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Give me your score out of 10. Give me a, A through F grade, 1 to 5 stars, whatever you want to do. Um, guys, make sure you tune in for the next episode, and don't forget the popcorn.